Hello, 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 everyone. We are live. So, happy Sunday and happy Easter. Happy Sunday and happy Easter. So, we are live on Facebook, we are live on Instagram, and we are live on YouTube. I don't know how the YouTube one is going, but I'm just glad that we're able to do this. Happy Sunday, everybody. It is such an exciting Sunday over here. I don't know how the weather is where you are, but it's beautiful, beautiful spring over here. I really should be like outside soaking in the sun and just enjoying life. But I'm happy to be here, hanging out with you all. Come on, guys, come on, come on. Let me know if you're here. Just say hello. Say hello, guys. Say hello in the chat. Let me know who's coming on. Come on and say hello. And happy Easter to everyone that's celebrating. How was church today? I'm sure that if you went to a Nigerian church that celebrates Easter, you danced, you dance. You're tired. You're probably very tired right now because you've been dancing and eating all day. But yeah, we're thankful for the gift of Jesus Christ. This is being very serious. We are thankful because this is what has made us brothers and sisters. You know, wherever we are, we are able to have that fellowship as one in Christ. I am thankful every day for the gift of Jesus because it's the grace that comes with it. It's that ability to be able to go to God as a father, not just as, someone to be afraid of it. Someone who loves us and has shown that love in an amazing, amazing way. Someone who's taught us to love and who's shown us that at the end of the day, love is everything. And that is why we love to be here, because everything that we do in Academic Cancer Foundation, we do out of love. We do out of the love that God has deposited into us to be able to see other people suffering and want to take steps to ease that suffering. Thank you, Olukayode, for being here. Happy Easter to you. Hello. Thank you, Udosoro, for being here. Thank you, my Queenie, the official ACF assistant. Thank you for being here. Thank you, my big sis ID. I love you so much. Thank you for being here, Catherine. Oh my God, my family is all over the place. These people just they can't do without me. I mean, I don't know what their life would be, but yeah. So this is how it looks like when you're special. But thank you guys for hanging with us. Let's keep the chat very busy today. Today we have a special guest. I'm going to wait on for a couple more people to come on. So tell people in your family groups to come on. I know everybody has a family chat and that, they have family members on there. Go on those family member chat and tell them to come on, that we are live. We've been talking about occupational therapy, and this week we are going to bring on an occupational therapist. She's going to tell us, I've been, you guys, I know I'm a researcher. You know that. I love to research things and talk about these things like I know what I'm talking about. But today, you're actually going to be speaking to someone who went to school for this. And this is the work that she does. She's an occupational therapist. And I respect these people. I love them so much. I've seen the work that they do. It's amazing. This is the kind of work that you only do because you have the heart. You are just a loving, empathetic person. You can't do this work otherwise. You can't if you're just someone that gets easily frustrated or someone who wants to like, oh my God, what is it? You can't do this because you are literally helping people, when they're at their worst. So we are so happy to have Christy with us today. And we just want to really appreciate her for agreeing to come on here and talk to us one-on-one. Hopefully we have some young people who will get to see this video and will be like, yeah, maybe I can be an occupational therapist. Not everyone can be a rapper. Not everyone can be a basketballer. We need some people to do some very serious work that's going to, just keep humanity going. So these are the kind of people we need to be hearing from. And that is why we have Christy here today. So guys, without much ado, we are going to bring Christy on. We really, we don't want you to waste too much time, to try to just keep to time. So we're going to bring Christy on, and Christy is going to speak to us about occupational therapy. Hi, Yvonne Abasi. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Guys, let's get ready to keep this chat busy and show our appreciation for Christy as she comes on. Hi, Christy.
Hi everyone. Hi everyone out there who is spending their time joining us today. First, I want to say, Adara, thank you for the lovely, lovely words. I really greatly appreciated them, and I want everyone to know out there that I am an occupational therapist here in New York City, and I first met Adara at the Upper West Manhattan Church of Christ here in New York. So I do know their family personally, and I love their family, and I love Adara, and I love all this great work that she's doing to honor her son. And I am very honored and very appreciative to have this moment to talk a little bit about occupational therapy. So I've been an occupational therapist for roughly going on 17 years now, just here in New York City. And I do work with pediatrics, and I mainly work with younger children, I would say ages 3 through 5 specifically, but I do have and I still do work with older children as well. And full disclosure, I do not work currently with children who are battling cancer, but I do understand the role of occupational therapy, and I can tell you more about what these occupational therapists do for children who are, fighting that hard battle every single day, and also to support the families and the caregivers of these children. I don't know if many of you even know what occupational therapy is, so I just want to give you a little bit of background information on that. I get this question asked often. I have been an occupational therapist for about 17 years, but I will tell you, I get the question, well, what is occupational therapy, or what do occupational therapists do? I probably get that question at least a handful of times every year. And I find that a lot of people just don't really know about the profession. And it has been around for a long time, and it has its roots in mental health. So occupational therapy became a profession back in around 1917, and the American Occupational Therapy Association was born, and it became a recognized profession. And so occupational therapists, their main goal is to help individuals to get back to those occupations that they once did. And that might be due to injury or illness or other circumstances. So, in this case, we're really talking about children with cancer here, and that how cancer can affect individuals. And when I usually speak to people, I usually kind of give it around like something like this. I'll say, imagine that your grandmother had a stroke and that she's in the hospital. And because of her stroke, she can no longer dress herself, or she can no longer walk, or she can no longer get herself to the bathroom, things that she needs to do every single day. These things are still important to her, and occupational therapists come in and they work with her to help her return back to the most independent self that she can be, and that she can engage in those occupations, which is where the phrase occupational therapist comes from, that she needs to do. So occupations are just things that you do in your everyday life. That can be work, but that can also be self-care. It can also be for kids, play. It can also involve sleep. It can also involve pretty much anything that you do in the day. So if it's meaningful to you to do, occupational therapists can help. So occupational therapists use different types of interventions to basically marry the skills of the person to the occupation that they want to do. Sometimes these things require a modification of the environment. Let's say because of an injury that you can no longer step over to get into the tub. So occupational therapists will give you and teach you how to use a tub bench to get in and out of the tub. They can teach you different ways to dress yourselves if you're no longer able to dress yourself in the normal way. They will modify the environment, they'll modify the activity, and they'll help you regain skills like strength, for example, for just one. So you might be asking me, well, what does this do with kids? A lot of people will tell me like, well, what do occupational therapists do with children? So in here in New York City, I work with many children with developmental disabilities, mainly autism. But also I will work with children with cerebral palsy. I have worked with children with Down syndrome and a host of other types of disabilities and diagnoses that affect a child's development. And in development, sometimes this isn't a lack of skill, but this is a development of skills. So I will teach a child how to manage their clothing for toileting. I will teach a child how to hold a pencil, hold scissors. I'll teach a child how to manipulate objects so they can play more functionally with their peers. I will also work on attention and deal with self-regulation and emotional regulation, things like that. I work currently in the school setting, so most of my occupational therapy sessions are done in the classroom or in the school environment. However, I have worked in the homes of children as well. And, with children with cancer, obviously these children are in a hospital. And occupational therapists that work in the hospital will work on the same types of occupations, usually in the hospital setting, or sometimes they may be doing outpatient. So the child will come to, a clinic, or as an outpatient, they'll come for their services and then leave. But if they're in the hospital, obviously they're staying there, and the occupational therapist will come to them. So you might ask me, like, well, what do these occupational therapists do for children with cancer? Well, it's much like anything for any child. And, in pediatrics especially, I would say the main 2 or 3 areas of occupation for kids are in school, like they go to school and they play. And these things are very important to them. So occupational therapists will work on honing those skills or regaining skills, or adapt or modify, or anything that will help a child to get back to what they want to do. And especially with cancer, I realize, that cancer will affect the body in many different ways. And, occupational therapists will look at the skills that they have, look at things that they need to do, look at the activity, and they will use activity to regain or to modify to get back to those things that the child wants to do. And these things could be, play. It could be self-care. It can be, managing their clothing. I said, like going to the toilet. Let's say that the cancer has affected their fine motor skills. So the occupational therapist will teach them again how to button, or maybe provide them materials to maybe not button their shirt or their pants like they used to, but they'll give them a tool that will let them still do what they need to do independently. And this is very important. I think that if you've ever sustained any type of injury and you were not able to do something that you once were able to do, it really is humbling, I'll say, because I'll give you a personal example that I had a hip surgery back in 2015, and I needed to have a labral tear repair. And I'm a pretty active person, and I walk a lot in New York, and I have a very active job. And for 3 weeks, I had to use crutches to get around. And it was very new to me. It's something that I don't normally do. And I wasn't able to just do the things I normally did with this injury and with this surgery. So even as an OT, I had to think about things differently, about how am I going to do what I need to do and stay within my limitations of my surgery. I wasn't able to lift up my leg, and I wasn't able to bend down. So I had to really think outside the box a little bit. And how was I going to get into the bathroom? How was I going to get into the shower? How was I going to do all these things that I didn't have a problem with previously? And I was thinking, you know what? I really should have these tools that occupational therapists give their patients every single day. Like, for example, like a long-handled sponge that would have came in really handy when I had the surgery to be able to wash myself more effectively if I had a long-handled sponge after my surgery. But, I think it's like one of those things that, painters' houses never get painted. Well, as an occupational therapist, I should have realized that that would have been helpful before my surgery and ordered myself one. But, fortunately for me, this was just a temporary situation. I knew that hopefully I would be able to get back to the same occupations that I did every day in the same way that I used to do. I just needed time to heal and get stronger. So I went to physical therapy to do those things. I didn't need occupational therapy for that specific injury, but if a child with cancer loses their hand or loses their arm or loses any type of part of their body that they used to have to do things, then an occupational therapist can come in and help them learn how to do the things that they used to do, let's say with two hands, and teach them different ways to compensate and use one hand to still do the same things that they were able to do before. And, giving someone back a sense of independence is really important. So occupational therapists work, in the school system, they work in the hospital, some work in nursing facilities. Some actually even have other types of more niche jobs, like I don't know if you're familiar with hippotherapy, but or aquatic therapy. There's just different areas of occupation where therapists can work in that isn't necessarily the traditional roles. But I want to say too that occupational therapists don't always just work with just the patient, but they also teach caregiver training, which is also important. I see that I see there's some questions in the chat, so I just want to see what the question is. What is the difference between? Oh, okay, good. That is a good question. I get this too. What is the difference between occupational therapy and physical therapy? So I would say physical therapists deal a lot more with the body mechanics. While they are trained to look at what you need to be able to do, they're more invested in the actual body mechanics of you, let's say, walking around or using the strength in your legs or your arms to like the mechanics of it, and the muscle and the range of motion, which also occupational therapy also looks at. However, occupational therapy uses the activity itself in a therapeutic manner. So meaning, if I wanted to work on strength with a child, let's say fine motor strength and the fine muscles in their hands to do something, I might use different toys like tongs to pick up balls or Legos to push together. I use the activity in which things that they like to play with to actually build on those things. So really, it's not just about the actual movement of your body, but you want to look at all the different skills and what the actual activity itself involves. So it breaks down the occupation or the activity, and you want to look at what does this activity require you to do? And what are the skills that the patient has or the client, or however you want to say, I usually say kid because I work with kids. I'm like, what does my kid need to do? And what skills do they have already? So then I want to see, oh, well, this skill requires, let's say cutting, for example. You need both your hands to hold the paper. One hand needs to hold the scissors. One hand needs to rotate the paper. So I'm looking at the fact is, does my child have bilateral coordination? So the use of both their hands together to accomplish a task. Are they coordinated in that manner? If they're not, then what kind of activities can I do to bring about that coordination? And there's many ways to do that. You don't necessarily have to just do cutting to work on bilateral coordination. Bilateral coordination is used for many different things. So I want to do something, pick an activity that the child will engage in, because engagement is key. If the child does not buy into what you're doing and they're not participating, then they're not going to gain the skills, or they're not going to be able to become independent in the activity that you're trying to have them do. And also, I think what you want to do too is know if these activities that you want their child to do they want to do it? You want to think about, as an OT, you want to think about what is meaningful for the child and what is meaningful for their parents. And is this something that they're going to be able to accomplish and work towards that? was just checking the chat. Sorry, Adara, I saw that you put something on the screen, but it flashed so quickly I wasn't able to read it. I wasn't sure if somebody else wanted to say something in the chat, but I just want to stress that, occupational therapy is, although it has been around a long time, it hasn't always been looked at as the, like, a needful or the important of the therapies. And they really are. I wanted to stress the fact that, being independent, whether you're a child or an adult, is really important. And knowing that you can reach that through occupational therapy is, really why I'm here to speak today. It's very important to know that this therapy it can be life-changing, and not just for the child or the adult, but for the family members as well. It's really important, and I want to say that some insurances don't even cover it. I will say that my insurance through my employer does not cover occupational therapy, and it is a shame. But I am a member of the AOTA, which is the American Occupational Therapy Association, and they have a governing body that they fight these things and bring about awareness and make sure that occupational therapy is recognized as the medical profession that it is, and how needful it really is. It just is. It's really important. And if someone can do something on their own, that's just less of a responsibility for everyone else. And so I just really think that it is very important. Occupational therapy, is big in mental health as well. It's not just necessarily in the hospital setting and that type of area. Occupational therapy covers a wide variety of things, and its roots is in mental health. So even just addressing that area of concern is important. And it really is just a really great profession. And I'm really happy to be able to speak here today during Occupational Therapy Month. This is definitely a month that I enjoy because it's occupational therapy is very dear to my heart. Obviously, I am an OT, but you know what? I want to say not everybody loves what they do, but I genuinely love what I do. I love the profession, and I really am really happy to see Adara out here, bringing an awareness and speaking up about how occupational therapists can help with children with cancer, because they can, and they are very needful, and their role is very important. And even if it's just to bring a little bit more awareness, I am happy to jump on and answer any questions and just really give you guys some information about what an occupational therapist can do. And if you have any questions, please leave it in the chat. I can see it on my phone here next to me. I'm just trying to kind of watch it. So I know I'm kind of speaking fast and I'm speaking a lot, but if you have any questions, feel free to put it in the chat. But I appreciate everyone out here, on here today, listening and supporting in this great cause that Adara has championed for, in remembrance of Nemo. And I really am hoping, that this foundation will continue to be successful. And I appreciate all that she's doing. How would I describe the emotions you have speaking? Okay. How would I describe the emotions you have experienced having to work with children, assisting them in navigating? Oh, so, that's an interesting question. I will tell you that I think kids are definitely my area of expertise and where I feel the most comfortable working with. A lot of kids, at least the kids that I work with currently, they don't always see themselves as having a disability or having delays. So a lot of times when I'm working with them, they just see it as play. We do work. I'm in a preschool setting, so the kids are younger. But when I go to pick them up for their therapy session, I never say, "Oh, we're going to OT." The reason why I don't say that is because I really don't want them to look at themselves as being any different necessarily. They may have differences in their peers, and they may have differences versus like someone who is neurotypical or someone who may have full use of their body. But I really want them to know that we're going to have a good time and we're going to do things that they enjoy. So I always say we're going to play. I think I love working with kids. So I would say that my worst day is still somebody's best day because I enjoy what I do so much. Um, it's hard sometimes to know that you can't always change everything you want to change. And I think that's the biggest thing. Sometimes progress is slow and you want to see, them succeed to their the most that the ability that they have, but sometimes progress is slow and you can maybe work on something for a very long time before you actually see the change. But what I like to say is any progress is progress, and sometimes it's the smallest little bit of change, but when you see that, it gives you a lot of hope that you're doing the right things and that they will continue to be successful. So I would say that, basically that's kind of like my outlook on day to day. The other thing that I think is kind of a little bit difficult is what you can't change at home. It really depends on where you work as an occupational therapist, on what the factors are that are involved. Meaning, if you're working in the home, you might have a little bit more success in making bigger changes because you might have access to the parents more. You have access to the home. You can suggest more modifications. You can set up the environment a little bit differently. But when you're working in the school, you are more held to what goes on in the school building, what goes on in the classroom. You may not have access to the parents as much for carryover, let's say. So that's when it becomes a little bit more difficult. And I would say that's the hardest part of my job, is not being able to change certain things I would love to change, but that's just the nature of life. You can't always change stuff and it's not always within your control. But on a day-to-day basis, I love what I do, and it's fun. It really, it's just fun. I get, like, people just say, oh, you just play with kids all day, and I'm like, yes, I do play with kids all day. And but while we're playing, we're building skills, and I still work on things that they need to do for school. And we just do it in a fun way most of the time, arts and crafts and all kinds of things, games. So I would say that it's mostly fun, and I really enjoy what I do. I think there was something. How important would you say that therapy is to children? And okay, so that's a good question. For children, sometimes I think of it this way. In the world, and like healthcare and the government and whatever, there was like this push, and there still is, and more in some areas more than others, about being proactive versus reactive, and preventative versus not. And I'll say this: occupational therapy is important because if you address problems when they're younger, whatever that problem is, whatever that need is, whatever that skill set that you're trying to build is, when you get in there and you do it early, then you save years of time on the back end. And that might be, caregiver assistance. That might be a more of a strain on the medical, field, in terms of like they may need more medical need if they're older. But if you get in and you kind of address the needs of those things early on, you can save money, time, all these resources. A child might be more fulfilled. They may have more independence. Therapy is good early on. Do it, get in there. You can make change at a young age because their brain is more flexible and is still developing. So you can make different neurological changes in the brain. You can create more neural pathways when they're young. And those things are very important to do in the beginning so you can achieve more success early on. And as an adult, it is too. Adults obviously are still needing to lead meaningful lives. And as an adult, if you are trying to overcome a stroke or overcome a heart attack or amputation or a mental health crisis or anything like that, therapy is the way to go. I mean, occupational therapy can help in so many different facets of the life that you can still lead a very meaningful life and do all the things you want to do and become proficient in things again, or return back to your previous state, even depending on the situation, through occupational therapy. It's not just for children, it's not just for adults, it's for anyone. Occupational therapy, you know, goes across the lifespan, and there's no age and that occupational therapy wouldn't be helpful for. It really just depends on your situation. You know, not every day or all the times or every injury or every disease or any like thing like that requires occupational therapy. But if your life circumstances are that your occupations are impacted by whatever it is that you're going through, whether it's mental health, whether it's a disease, whether it's the developmental delay, if your occupations, the things that you need to do on the everyday, is impacted by those things, occupational therapy can help. Do one needs to be certified for occupational therapy like other occupation before practicing it? Yes. The zeal, courage, and love is what makes commitment work. Yes. Yes. So, I mean, I would agree with Adara in saying, you do need to have a heart for this job. You're working with people, and anytime you're working with people, especially people who are frustrated, people who are sad, people who are being impacted in ways, and they're in a situation that they didn't see themselves in before. Anytime you're dealing with people, you have to have a level of patience, a level of care. I work with children because I love children. I'll tell you, before I became an occupational therapist, I wanted to be a pediatrician. I wanted to go to med school and do all those things because I loved kids so much. I always have. And I decided I just didn't want to devote that much of my life, I guess, to becoming a doctor. But then when I was doing my research for grad school, I learned what occupational therapy was. And I said, you know what, this is for me. I can work with people, I can work with kids, I can do all the same things. I'm not a doctor, but I can do a lot to help kids and individuals by becoming an occupational therapist. So that's what I decided to do. And to be an occupational therapist, yes. So you have to, currently, I believe the requirements are still to have a master's degree in occupational therapy. You have to sit for a national board and pass the exam, and then you have to keep your license up at the state in which you are practicing in. So right now I'm just in New York City. But there are doctorate programs in which you can now do as an occupational therapist, but as of yet, they have not required that to be the level of education to sit for the boards yet. So that may be coming in the years. I know they've previously spoke about it and have been thinking about making it become an entry level at a doctorate degree. That is now what physical therapists are. They have the entry level to become a physical therapist now is a doctorate of physical therapy. And they are currently in negotiations and talks about whether or not they should make occupational therapy entry level also be a doctorate. Previously, before I entered school, occupational therapy was a bachelor's degree up until I think maybe 2006 might have been like the last class that you can do that. I know that I graduated in 2008, and we were one of the first classes when it became mandatory that a master's degree was the level of education you had to have in order to sit for the boards to be an occupational therapist. Does occupational therapy have specialization? So occupational therapy, it depends on the program, but a lot of the occupational therapy programs only have, I would say, two, they call them field works, but it's like an internship. And usually most of the schools have two, which you do right before you graduate to become to sit for your boards and license. And usually a lot of the schools will have you do one pediatrics, one adult. That could be like for me, let's say I did one in school. I did not do one in school actually, but you could do one in school for pediatrics and then maybe one for adults, you might be due, like I did an acute rehab in a hospital setting in New Jersey. So for 3 months, I picked up another therapist caseload. I was the acting occupational therapist under supervision for 3 months in that acute rehab. And then I did 3 months actually in a sensory gym for children. And I did 3 months there prior to my graduation. Now, some schools will offer a third semester of internship in which you can choose to do like something maybe more specialized that you want to do. So like let's say I had that I was attending a program that had the third option, I might then choose another pediatrics to do my third level or my third choice of internship, and so that I would be more prepared to do pediatrics when I graduated. But most programs only have two, and you really basically get it's a general degree, so you do not get a degree in a specialized area of occupational therapy. You get a degree in occupational therapy, so it's more general. And then when you get into the field, I always tell new grads to choose a job in which you can have supervision, and that you have someone on staff that you can speak to like once a week. That I did that when I graduated. I took my first job and I had a supervisor who met with me weekly so I can discuss any problems I was having, so I can get advice, so I can learn something new. And I really think that's very valuable because it really will help you as your first year in practice. But there's not really a specialization within the program right now. It's more when you're, I guess, like on the job training, and as you build the years within your specific area. Some occupational therapists do change. Some might start in peds, and then for whatever reason, they might move into the hospital setting, or vice versa. Some, therapists, when they start having children and they feel the need to be home more, or to have a schedule that's more meeting the needs of their family, they might move to the school system. And so there's no such thing as like having you guys start with one, you can only do that. But I do suggest that people do their due diligence, and if they do switch over, that they like have something where they can be a part of a team, or be on staff where there's senior therapists who can help them learn the ropes. The ideas are the same in the sense that you are really still doing you're looking at what the client or the patient needs, and you're still using activities to address those needs and to bridge the gap between things that they would like to do and where their skill set currently is. But obviously, like anything else, if it's still a new, like, might be a documentation system, it's still working with a different population, so maybe you need to get ideas on how to work with a child versus working with an adult. But there is no specialization, necessarily coming out of school like that.
Thank you, Christy. This is this. Please, let's appreciate her in the comments. Let's appreciate her so much. I want her to look at these comments afterwards and feel the love that's emanating from all of us. She really needs to feel. This was amazing, Christy. Thank you so much. Thank
Yeah,
you.
of course. And
Thank
please,
you for the
if anyone has
support. Thank you.
questions or any interest in learning how to become an OT, I'm sure Adara would be happy to
Yes.
up. I
Reach
love
out to me. I'll hook you up with Christy and she can show you the way. She's amazing and we love her so much. And we need to really appreciate her for coming on and doing this. She told me, let me tell you guys, I'm gonna say it. She told me she's only gonna speak for 5 minutes. I was like, oh, okay. But then you know how it is when you're talking about something that you love, you just can't stop talking about it. So thank you. It's so evident to us that you love what you do, and the children that you work with, they are so blessed to have you. Thank you. Like you said, occupational therapy can really change lives. I'm a witness to that. And thank you so much for coming on. I'm gonna let you go now, but you're still on. If anybody has a question, I might bring you back on. Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone. Hope you have a good day.
You too. Bye bye. Okay, guys. Is everybody as excited as I am right now? Because we are moving on to the next thing. But before that, really, please let's appreciate Christine. She the info, it was just like on my head like this. I'm like, I hope you guys are not overwhelmed. She did a great job. This is what she does. And we have seen this work that she's talking about in action. We've seen it in action, and we know how much further it can take a child that's going through cancer. Because, like she said, cancer really does debilitate the entire body system. You know, from the chemotherapy, the radiation, and all of that, it can be hard. And to have somebody right there to come in, listen to your child, work with your child, that's so, I don't know how they do it. They're so gentle and patient with kids, and they just help them develop, all these skills that they need to be able to get through life. Like she said, who doesn't want to be independent? Who doesn't want to be able to brush their teeth the way they've always done? And this is what these professions are here for, and they're amazing. Being here has really shown me how really holistic healthcare is supposed to be. And I'm glad that we were able to bring Christy on to show us what this looks like and how it can work. Thank you. So the next thing that we are going on to, you're not going to be shocked because you're not expecting this. I'm telling you, you're going to be so shocked at who I'm bringing on. And you guys are now going to start doing like you don't like me. Anyway, let me not say much. Let me just do it. Because if people will start screaming now, and I will just take myself off and go. Because I know what is coming. I know. Oh yeah, take it away. Go. It's fine.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are in the world. It's such a great honor to be here. I want to especially thank Christy for the time she's had with us, introducing occupational therapy to all of us on this platform. Um, it's amazing just listening to her speak so passionately about something she really loves. And in my profession, in my almost everyday work life, I interact with a lot of occupational therapists, and of course with Akanimo, it was our first real exposure to occupational therapy, a profession that we don't have back in Nigeria. So we knew was physical therapy. So I could tell the difference and how important it is to grooming people and getting people back to what their baseline used to be as much as possible. So thank you again, Chrissy, for being here. We appreciate you. And to my dear wife, thank you so much for having me and for dragging me into this. And I appreciate you all. As you can see, I'm at work, so I'm happy I could carve out this time to talk to all of us. I would just like to introduce something that we have planned, something you all may have been expecting us to talk about. It's about time we started planning for an event that comes up in June. We've had it for a few years back to back now, and this is probably going to be a much bigger experience of it. We are introducing Run for Nemo again, 2025 edition of it. We look forward to having it again in June. Kanimo's birthday is June 13. He would have been 18 years this year. Um, so on June 14, which is a Saturday, we will be hosting another Run for Nemo event. This time, for those of us who are here in South Carolina, we are hoping to do an in-person run. So we are planning to have a physical run where people will come together that morning on Saturday, the 14th. The venue would be at USC Upstate at 7 between 7 and 8 a.m. And so arrival between 7 and 8. We start the run around 8 o'clock, and hopefully do a 5K walk run, and everybody will disperse. And there will be medals for every participant. And we are very excited about this. The color for this year is purple. So for all of us, I will encourage you, wherever you are in the world, we look forward to everyone participating just like we did last year. So for those who are not in South Carolina, in Spartanburg, Greenville area, you all can still participate virtually just like we did last year. And this time we encourage you all to go on the website, create teams. Remember, the main purpose of this Run for Nemo, is to raise funding for childhood cancer research. And our target for the year 2025 is $10,000 US dollars. And the money will all be funneled into childhood cancer research in a facility likely here in South Carolina. And we really, really would look out for all your support to make this happen. We did it last year. A facility in New York and was the beneficiary of that, of your generosity. We hope that this year will be even better. We hope to raise those funds. And how do we go about that? It is through you being a part of the event. Reach out to as many people as you can. Create teams. Visit the website. Purchase a t-shirt. Donate to the cause. And tell as many people, friends, families to participate in this. Remember, your donation is going to help a child in the very near future, because these researchers would help children get the treatment they need for cancer, and if possible prevent childhood cancer as much as we can. That is all we want to see. We do not want parents to suffer like we did. We're doing everything we can to see kids survive, to see children no longer have to go through cancer. So however we can achieve that, that's our target, and we're going to keep working on that. So we encourage all of you, keep the dates, please. It's June 14, 2025, Saturday. Here in South Carolina, it's going to be an in-person run, but wherever you are in the world, make this a date. Participate in it, pick up the t-shirts, create teams, run with your teams, tag the foundation on Instagram and on Facebook, and let's raise funds for cancer. Let's show childhood cancer research. That is our aim for this year, and we look forward to all your support. We'll keep raising these awareness. Whichever platform you are in, share the link. Let people go there, donate, and that's all we ask for you to please help us with this time. Thank you all again for having me. It's been really a pleasure having to see you all support us. It's a huge, huge, huge honor for us. We can't thank you enough for everything you do for us. Thank you again. And here's wishing you all the very best of the rest of the day. Thank you.
Thank you. How come? Let me remove you. Thanks for doing this, baby. Appreciate you. Thanks for coming on. We are so excited. It's Run for Nemo 2025. We are gonna do this, people. We are really gonna do this. So everyone that's on here knows that June we should be celebrating. We should be celebrating Academo. My family has a lot of birthdays in June. I think we have like 5 or 6 people in June that were born in June. And we are really we love to celebrate. We are us, we are Nigerians. We love to celebrate, we love to party, we love to do all those things. And we always celebrated Akadimo's birthday. We always did. And this is a confirmation for us that we forever will. This is our life now. This is how it's always going to be. So Run for Nemo has come to stay. It's come. This is our thing now. Academa would have been 18 years this year. But life came in, it lived, it did this, and what can we do? The only way that we can do this, the only way we can get through this is to shine that spotlight on the disease. So, like he said, other families in the future would not have to suffer this. Our vision, if you get on our website and look at our vision is a world where no child dies of cancer. Because I don't know if we can actually really get to a point where we can say no child gets it, but we can look at trying to prevent the dying part. For now, in places around the world, survival rates are getting up and up and up, and that's the target. Let's continue to get people to survive this. so that the time would come when no child would die from it. And in participating in Run for Nemo, you are actually contributing towards that goal. You are contributing towards that goal. We will reach our target, we will pass our target. So look out for the Facebook group, because what's going to happen is that you know, our t-shirts, that is where you're going to get it, and your medal is coming with a t-shirt order. So if you want to get a medal for doing this, please go ahead and order a t-shirt. This is for people in North America and Europe. If you are in Nigeria, listen to me. Your t-shirts are going to come from Lagos. The people that participated last year, you know how we did it. Your t-shirts are going to come from Lagos. We're going to order it from the Lagos liaison office, and there will be a contact person, and you would all register with the sum of 10,000 naira, which typically is not, I mean, it's not covering much, but we want to see people show their commitment to this. So you're going to order your t-shirts. Your t-shirt is going to come with a medal, and you would participate in the race. We are asking that everyone does put in their order for t-shirts for Nigeria at least 2 weeks before the event. So that way you can get your t-shirt. By June 1, we are not getting orders anymore. Please, 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 you reach out to Omoibom, phone number 08023733736. We would put that on the volunteer group chat and post it on social media and everywhere. And you would be able to contact her and make your order for a t-shirt through it. Payment would be made to the foundation website, to the foundation Nigerian account, and we would get all that together and we would order the t-shirts and make it available to people who have ordered, and we will participate. The people over here, the people in Canada, are going to organize and do their thing. Interestingly, when you get on the website, you would be able to create a team, give your team a name, and then go ahead and put in the, you can set a goal for your team, and then you start doing the work to fundraise. This is the support that you've been calling yourself a supporter. This is the work that you're going to be doing now. So let's go ahead and start. Today is the official launch of Run for Nemo 2025 is officially open. Go ahead, order your t-shirts. Go ahead, spread the message. Go ahead, do videos for yourself on your social media talking about Run for Nemo 2025, directing people to the website to go order their t-shirts. Please, let's take this seriously. This is our main next event coming up in June, and it has come to stay. And now we gotta be successful. Now that we've put this target on ourselves, now we have to meet this target. But I know that God is on our side. I know that we're going to be able to do it. And I appreciate you all. I thank you to Christy for doing this. And thank you. I'm waiting for the next guest to come on. We have something for our volunteers, because starting today, is National Volunteer Week. National Volunteer Week is April 20th to April 26th, 2025. So I'm waiting for her. She has an announcement. She's going to come on and give us a very brief announcement so that we can round up. But yeah, this is the work that we have come to do, and I will believe that we will reach our target. $10,000 towards childhood cancer research. We will meet that target. And we are raising money. If you have sponsors, please send them our way. Yeah, she's here. I'm going to bring her on. Please stay on and pay attention, because what is coming is amazing. for our volunteers, what is coming is just awesome. So stay on. Hi, sis.
Hi, sis. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good
Glad to be
afternoon.
here.
Take it away.
Yeah, I hope we can all hear me right. And I hope we had a very pleasant session listening to Christy and also to Dr. Sunday Kanem. We have some giveaway, right? So I hope we took notes and we're going to be able to answer the questions. So we have two questions. Before we go into the special announcements for today, let's just take those two questions. So if we're ready, let me see thumbs up, chat session in the chat session. Let me see my reactions. If we know we're ready for the giveaway today, I have just two questions, and we have a special gift for the people who would answer them correctly. So I picked the first question from Christy, occupational therapy, and the second question from Run for Nemo 2025, from what Dr. Ekanem told us about the event. So question one, let's all go to the chat session and let's make use of our keypads. First question is, how does occupational therapist do for children with cancer? How do they treat children with cancer? She highlighted a couple of things, and if we had listened attentively, we should be able to answer that. So let's get going. We're looking at the chat session, chat corner to see who would get that correctly. Guys, do we have answers yet? So how does occupational therapist deal with children with cancer? I mean, as in, how do they treat children with cancer? Not necessarily treatment, but she spoke about, of course, when she gave us an intro about occupational therapists, what they do, and then she mentioned how they relate with children that has cancer. So if we can remember, she said a whole lot in that aspect. I hope I'm still live. I hope we can listen. Can we all hear me? Hello, everyone. Okay. Do we have answers in the chat? Yep. Guys, just give me a few minutes. Exactly. You, the mentor, got it right. She dealt. Sorry, just give me a moment, guys. You, the mentor. Congratulations, Yudi, for getting that right. Because I took notes as well. She mentioned that they look at the skills the children have, either to modify them or work with the kids to get back to what they often would normally do. So that's correct. Thank you so much. The second question. I have a lot here, but let me just go down to the other one. What is the flag of date for this year Run for Nemo? It's a two in one question. Please listen attentively. What is the flag of date for this year's Run for Nemo? And what is the target amount for the cancer research program? I'm going to take that again. What is the flag of date for this year's Run for Nemo? And what's the target amount for the cancer research program? Pardon me, guys. My chat is actually slow. I can see responses on someone else's phone, but mine isn't populating. You're the mentor. No, you can have it again. Thank you. Congratulations. Let's give it up for him. But I'm going to take another question, right?
We can't see you. Your video is off. Has anybody else lost the video? Did anybody else lose the video? I can't see them at all. Hello? I can't see them at all. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and ask that second question. Okay, so I guess Grace Jacob has got the question right. The question was flag off date for Run for Nemo 2024, and how much is the target? How much are we trying to raise for Run for Nemo 2024? That was a 2-in-1 question. And this is Grace Jacob answering $10,000, and the flag off date is June. Okay, she's back. I'm going to bring her back on. Okay, we lost you there for a moment. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, all right. We lost you there for a moment. Welcome
Yep.
back on. I think we have an answer to. I know you disqualified Udi Mentor, and I think Grace Jacob answered both questions before any other person could answer. So
Oh,
take it over.
okay. Thank you so much. Then we'll give it up to Grace then, because that's not populating on my charts, but it's okay. We'll give it up to Grace. And that ends the session. We'll reach out to the winners. Congratulations, Grace. Congratulations, UD Mentor. We're going to reach out to the winners and extend the gift to them as well. We're moving on to the next segment, and this is special announcement, right? We have a lot in store for us today, so and we want everyone to participate. So this is how it goes, right? We're gonna have nominations, nominating top volunteers for the year, for the last 1 year. Academic Cancer Foundation top volunteers. So kickoff for the nomination starts now, right? So it ends on Tuesday. So guys, we need to nominate. Everyone should participate in this. Nominate someone you think is the top volunteer in the team, starting immediately. And the nomination ends on Tuesday. End of business Tuesday is when nomination ends. So, and after the nomination, the team would publish the list of nominees in the group before the end of Tuesday as well. Nomination ends, close of business, let's say 6 p.m. on Tuesday, right? And immediately after that, the list of nominees will be populated in the group. And once the list is populated, voting commences immediately. So we have the opportunity to nominate, and we are also going to vote. So if we have, let's say, 10 people being nominated as top volunteers, right, we have to vote, because the program is actually looking at selecting the top 5. So on Tuesday, immediately after we have published the names of the nominees, then people can start voting, right? You vote by just picking your top volunteer for the year. Just pick the name, vote, pick the name and vote, right? And if you vote for one person, you cannot vote again for that same person. That's the rule of the game. So if, for instance, I am voting Catherine, I can't vote Catherine a second time. I have to either vote Catherine and I'll vote someone else. So please take note of the rule. Vote as many as you can, but please, you cannot vote one person repeatedly, right? And then the winners, which is the top five, of course, we're going to count the vote, right? So the winners would be announced on Sunday during the live session. That's next Sunday. So between Saturday and Sunday, would have the top winners. And we're not going to publish them, but we're going to publish the vote, right? And the selection. How many people were voted and who was selected as the top five. So it's going to be a free and fair nomination, like we normally say, free and fair election, right? So we're going to be a free and fair nomination. So this nomination is actually towards appreciating top volunteers in the last 1 year. And it's also a way of encouraging every member and volunteer of this organization towards the same event, the same program, same time next year. Because we understand that our volunteers put in a whole lot. They put in their time, they put in their efforts, they put in their energy to ensure that this organization move forward. So it's going to be like an annual event where we'll always appreciate our top volunteers. So even if you do not make the list this year, please, there's always another opportunity for you. And what that tells you is put in the work, put in the effort, work with the team, and you also would be celebrated and appreciated next year. So that's a bit of the announcement that we have for today. I don't know if I missed anything out. Either did I miss anything or
I'm just excited.
so?
Thank you, sis. Thank you so much. I'm just excited. I'm sure everybody's excited. I'm sure everyone that's worked is excited. I mean, if you just joined us not too long ago, you have a long time till next year. This is
Yep.
God is going to keep us alive. We'll continue to do this. We are thankful to our donors who see you and the work that you put in every day to push this nonprofit work forward. And you know what volunteering is you giving your time, your energy, your resources, your skills. There are lots of you that are always working behind the scenes, attending meetings and doing things that we cannot even repay you for. So we are using this opportunity to also showcase you. And we are also using this opportunity to show our appreciation and to have people come on and say, oh, it's National Volunteer Week. Let's say thank you to our, and you know yourself, you know, people see you sharing the post, people see you, liking and commenting all the time. People see you coming on here on a Sunday evening when you should be chilling or out with friends. So it's great that we see it too. Thank you, sis. I'm gonna let you go.
Thank you.
Appreciate you for taking the time to do this, and we love you so much. So, guys, it's time. It's time. It's time. If you are in Nigeria and you are if you're a Nigerian volunteer, you should be in the WhatsApp group. You should be. There is no other way. If you are in Nigeria and if you are Nigerian, you should be in that WhatsApp group. And we are going to have you nominate the people that you think have been working so much this year. Last year, this time, we had our volunteer training. after that volunteer training, that we were able to appreciate. During that volunteer training, we actually appreciated, for the volunteer week. And this year, we are looking at it and saying, you know what can we do? And thankfully, we had a donor said, people have been working hard. Let's see how we can appreciate them. So we are thankful for you. And we know that you see the people that work well, that work hard. So go ahead and nominate them in the WhatsApp group. You can have multiple nominations, and then people would vote, one vote per person. You choose someone that you think has been working hard. I'm sure that and other people have seen who that person is too. So thank you, guys. Thank you for coming on. This is more than an hour, but I'm sure that we all had a fantastic time. I'm sure that everyone has had a great time so far. Once again, thank you to Christy for being amazing, for coming on and telling us about occupational therapy. This is what we are going to be having with these lives. And like our assistant is saying, that we will post the names of those nominated on Wednesday, and we will have to vote Wednesday. Voting will stop on Saturday, and then on Sunday we'll be here. We have two winners today. Each person is going to win 10,000 naira each. And so congratulations to the winners of today. That is great on you. I hope you have a beautiful week. It's a good day to win something. So good for you. And hopefully next week we are going to have our official nomination and winning for our top volunteers for 2020. This is like doing employee of the month, but we're going to have you win something. And we are proud to have you serve with us, and we are grateful to have you work for us. We are grateful to have you participate here all day, every day. When we call on you, you show up. And so I know that you are for us, and it's a pleasure to be able to have somebody look at it and say, yes, this is what we are giving to our volunteers, for standing by us, for doing this for us. So thank you guys for hanging with us for more than an hour, and congratulations to the two winners from today. And thank you to Christy for coming on and talking to us about occupational therapy. And thank you to Dr. Sunday Ekadem for coming on and announcing the launch of Run for Nemo 2025. Guys, let us continue to do what we've been doing. Let us continue to be hopeful for a world where childhood cancer will not lead to the death of a child. But in the moment, let us continue to put our hands together as we continue to support children with cancer, with awareness, with financial support, with emotional support, and with research for better treatments and cures. I love you guys so much for hanging with me for so long. Thank you. Share this live to every group you belong in. Share this live to every WhatsApp group you belong in, and Facebook group, everywhere. Just share it. Let people know what we have going on. And as we continue to work, remember, talk to somebody about childhood cancer. Today you may actually be saving a life. Thank you, guys. And have a beautiful, beautiful week. And happy Easter to all who are celebrating. Yes. Bye. Bye, everyone.